Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, talk about something a little bit different. The Netflix documentary A Secret Love, which obviously spoilers for. If you haven't seen A Secret Love, go watch the documentary and then come back and check out this review then. So, A Secret Love is basically the story of Terry and Pat, who are a couple. They have been together since 1947. So, when the documentary starts, they've been together for just over 65 years, and the documentary shot over about 5 years. And they have actually only come out to their family about 3 years prior to the start of the documentary being made. Before that, they were masquerading under the whole close friends, and in certain situations, like we hear them on the call to the doctor and they call each other cousin, which is quite a common thing. And I know some people personally who did go this route whenever they were a couple. A teacher that I had in high school, she actually had a relationship with another woman, and unfortunately the partner passed away, and she would discuss her in class. She would talk about her cousin. At the time, obviously being gay, a gaydar, you pick up on those things. And now I'm still in contact with her through social media and stuff, and happy that she has met someone else and she can now live an open life as calling that person, her wife and things. And a lot of Terry's family members are in the documentary as well, especially her niece Diana, who Terry and her are very, very close. Terry talks about her and says, she's like the daughter I never had. And obviously, because Pat and Terry are together and have been so close, that Pat is very close with Diana too. And Diana refers to them both as like Auntie Pat and Auntie Terry, like the aunties. Over the documentary, we kind of see them going down the route of having to sell their house that they've lived in for over 20 years and to go into an assisted living facility, to actually get married in the assisted living facility that they live in Chicago, which I'll talk about in a minute, but it's just amazing. It's such a good feel-good scene. But they also, after they've been in this facility in Chicago, both of their health, Terry's has been deteriorating for a while, and she has Parkinson's. She has like a bad tremor in her hand, and Pat actually has an episode where she gets hospitalized. So after that, they both go back to their native Canada and move into a facility there where they are for 2 more years at the end of the documentary. They aren't so happy about going into the facility, but at the end they kind of say, oh, we're glad that their niece kind of gave us a push to go into this facility and to come back to Canada, because even though it's not what they really wanted at the time, it's what they needed. Throughout the documentary, we also learn about their lives, their family, their growing up. As I said, they're from Canada, and Terry ended up going to America in the first place because she was a very good baseball player, and she actually was scouted and picked and played professional baseball for 4 years in Chicago. And when she was living down there, that's when Pat went down and they moved in together. Pat got a job, and when Terry finished playing professional baseball, her and Pat both worked for an interior designer, and they worked there for over 20 years. And we also see them go back to that place of work now, and the big high-rise that they lived in, they were one of the first tenants there. When they go in and they're like looking over the views, and they're also pointing out like other places they've lived in the city. So it's pretty cool to see them go through all that and reflect on how different it is now. They do also discuss just what it was like living as a gay person in the 40s, 50s, 60s, how they were constantly, living in fear. There's a couple of other people interviewed who were also around going to the gay and lesbian bars, and they talk about the raids, and whenever the police would come in, a woman had to be wearing women's clothes, and if they were wearing zippered pants, they were impersonating a man and they were arrested. And they had to be wearing at least 3 items of women's clothing. If they had any male clothing on, they were arrested. Like, it just sounds absolutely horrendous. And Terry and Pat kind of say they never really went out and took those chances because people were losing their jobs. Like, they printed names, addresses, occupations in the newspaper when people were arrested for these sort of things. So it's just, I mean, it's crazy thinking about that now. And that wasn't that long ago. I mean, I've mentioned before on the channel the place where I currently live, which is an island in the UK. Up until the 1990s, they were still arresting people on the island for being gay. I mean, we've come a long way, and it's people like Terry and Pat who we should be looking at and just having such admiration and respect for women like them. Terry and Pat seem to have built like a good network of friends. We have dinner with a gay couple, and these two men seem to have been together for a long time too. We see loads of vacation pictures and videos of them going with other gay couples, and the niece kind of describes how they have this other family and this secret life. It's obviously they were a lot more open with other gay couples and things, but it's just really interesting to see their blood family and their chosen family. And it's really nice when they do finally get married, you know, both those families are there, and the niece does like a little speech saying how amazing it is that they can all be together, and it's just really nice. I honestly don't know how anyone could watch this documentary and think at the end that the love between these two women isn't exactly the same as the love between any other couple. I just think that they were the perfect people for a documentary like this. They both seem just wonderful people and so genuine, and the love they have, it's absolutely palpable through the screen how much they just love and are devoted to one another. And to see that after 65, 70 years is just truly, truly amazing to me. I mean, it's something that we would all be so lucky to have. So after Terry and Pat get married at the assisted living facility in Illinois, which just everything about the wedding, and it's just so adorable. And obviously they don't need this piece of paper. They have been completely devoted and committed to each other over 70 years, but it's the fact that they were able to finally have that piece of paper and have their love recognized the same way all these other people in the world have the right to, and have their rings and everything like that. Like, it was, I don't know how you could watch that and just not feel something in your heart. Like, I definitely had like a couple of little tears for them. One of the most powerful scenes for me in the entire documentary was where they're packing up to move their house, and they have like a few boxes of like little bits and pictures, and we see so many pictures throughout the documentary. Like, they really documented all their life, and obviously I'm sure it was so nice for them to be able to show these pictures, because those pictures, like them where you can tell they're a couple, and they've obviously had to keep those secret their whole life. There's a point where they're going through like all these letters, and the niece Diana, she takes them out and hands them to Pat. She's like, oh, what are these? They look like letters. And Pat says they're poetry, and she reads out one of them that's so well written and just awesome. And there's, I mean, dozens and dozens and dozens of them, like, stack. And Pat saying how she wrote these to Terry over the years, and it's really strange because all the poems and the letters, the bottom is torn off them, like really jaggedly, like someone's just ripped it. And Diana, the niece, says, like, why are all of them, the bottoms ripped off? And Pat says, oh, well, we had to rip the bottoms off because I wrote my name on it, and I wouldn't want anyone to know that I wrote it for Terry. It just, to me, that was just so powerful, made me like choke up a bit. It just must be so amazing to them that they're finally able to be open and tell their story in the world. I mean, obviously living now, we're extremely lucky, of course, in certain countries and certain places in the world. Like, it's not possible to live an open life. And even in some respects, in certain families and certain religions and circumstances, certain people can't be open. I mean, I had a tiny taste of this, like my first relationship for the years that we were together. We were in the closet and nobody knew, and everybody thought that we were friends, and it was absolutely horrible. I cannot imagine having to live that way my entire life. And people who meet me now and I tell them, you know, I did have a hard time coming out, and I came out when I was about 20, and I was in the closet for like 3 years when I was dating someone. And people, especially now that I'm on the internet shouting about it, that people are always like, wow, and you know, you are so open about it, and you know, I have no problem whatsoever. Especially the past 2 years that I've lived somewhere with a very small gay population, and there are a lot of people who I'm probably the only gay person they know, or at least the only gay woman that they know. So I have nothing but the utmost respect for these women. Like, they are truly amazing to me, that it just must have been so difficult, and I can't imagine what it feels like to be so open with your family after such a long time, but also to be telling the world about it, have a camera crew around you for 5 years, and then to make this amazing documentary. At the very end of the documentary, we see them leaving the assisted living facility in Illinois. And I thought it was clever the way they did it. Instead of having them go on a plane or something, which may be uncomfortable, entered an RV, and like Terry's niece and some other people, the camera crew, they all drive from Illinois to Canada. They go to Edmonton. That's where Terry's family is. And they talk about, you know, we're going to this next chapter of our lives, and I've passed their old house, and this nice little last scene where Pat's like, oh, give me a morning kiss and stuff, and they're just so sweet and loving together. We get text on the screen at the end and says they moved to this new assisted living facility in Canada and had 2 great years living there together. And Terry passed away last year, 2019, and she's survived by her partner, Pat, of 72 years. It even makes me now speaking like a little bit, but it was an awesome documentary, and I hope that Pat is still doing well. I'm sure she's still in Edmonton. I would implore anyone who hasn't seen it to watch it. I think it's a really important documentary. I think so many people could benefit from seeing it. I think that it's really important for especially young LGBTQ people to see this sort of thing and not forget the people who did sacrifice so we could live this open life and be treated exactly like everyone else. I just have the utmost respect for Terry and Pat. What amazing women. They did some truly wonderful things, like the baseball thing, and you know, they lived this great life, travels. They lived a very comfortable life. They must have worked hard too to get where they were. It was an amazing documentary. I really enjoyed it, and I hope to see more things like this from Netflix. Speaking of Netflix, the next Netflix show that I'm going to talk about on the channel will be Dead to Me Season 2. It's the show starring Christina Applegate and Linda Cardellini, and Natalie Morales is in this season also. So that will be up on the channel very soon. And of course, I'll be doing my usual OG L Word reviews. If there's anything else that you guys would like to see on the channel, please pop it in the comments down below. I may also do a kind of Generation Q update, what's going on, how are we looking, because I've heard a few little things, and I have done the what we know so far about season 2, but I did that right at the end of season 1, so I have heard some new news since then. I'll do like a Generation Q update very soon. Don't forget to follow me on social media, guys. My Instagram and Facebook are the.ash.silver, and my Twitter is theashsilver1. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a good weekend, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.